And now to the passing of an American icon. Boxing legend George Foreman died last night at the age of 76. He was surrounded by loved ones at a hospital in Houston. The two-time heavyweight champ was known for his larger-than-life personality, and his talents reached beyond the ring. Foreman was a preacher and a successful entrepreneur. Perhaps most notably, he was the pitchman for the famous George Foreman Grill. For more now on his life and legacy, we're honored to be joined by Jim Gray from Fox Sports. Your thoughts, Jim, on the legacy of George Foreman?
Well, I got to know George very, very well and spent a lot of time with him, and it's a sad day. He was great for our country. He won a gold medal. He reinvented himself. He was the big bad bully and came back to be the lovable guy that everybody wanted to be around. He sold 100 million George Foreman grills. An entrepreneur. He took the sport in boxing to a whole nother level in terms of what he was able to do beyond the ring. And he knocked Joe Frazier down 6 times. Smoking Joe Frazier, he knocked him down 6. That's right, 6 times. And then, of course, he went against Ali, perhaps the most famous bout in the history of boxing, the Rumble in the Jungle, Kinshasa, Zaire. When we were kings, it won an Academy Award. So George Foreman was quite a man.
Jim, how did that fight, that upset there, the Rumble in the Jungle, how did that affect sort of the trajectory of Foreman's life?
Well, it caused him tremendous psychological damage. He had to live with that. And the rope-a-dope, which he fell prey to, which was a brilliant strategy by Ali. Ali, perhaps at his finest moment. And then he was able to take control of the fight after being pummeled around by Foreman, but that rope-a-dope was so effective, and George suffered. George suffered so much that he only fought a few more times, went away from boxing for a 20-year period, then came back and beat Michael Moore at age 45 to become the oldest man in the history of boxing to win the heavyweight championship. And so that was quite and he was getting beaten up that night by Moore, and then he hit him with a left and then a right, and boom, the strength of that one punch. He then catapulted himself into history. One of the greatest achievements in the history of sports.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Religion became a big part of his life, and I'm wondering if you have any insight as to how that came to be.
Well, I think perhaps after he lost to Ali, he needed faith. He needed something to be able to fall back into and to be able to grasp onto. And he found religion, and he was a preacher, and he reinvented himself. This hasn't happened. People usually don't go from being villains to being people who are embraced, and that was one of the great things about George. For many, many years, he was not likable, and people did not want to be around him. And then he changed everything, and he took control of his life. He found it through God and through his faith. And he found it through people. And so we're going to miss George Foreman. We haven't seen the likes of him ever in this country. He was truly one of a kind. And you see that smile there, and you see that infectious personality that he became. And he was wonderful. He was wonderful.
Yeah, truly is an incredible legacy, incredible man. Finally, you talk about sort of from villain to hero. The George Foreman Grill had a lot to do, I think, with how just people who weren't boxing fans, just the country embraced him. He sold a lot of grills. He made over $100 million from that, and I think that had a lot to do with the fact that people came to love him, and maybe through the grill, maybe because of the grill, or vice versa.
He sold 100 million grills. A boxer, George Foreman, a heavyweight champion, and it was no one saw that coming. It kind of came out of nowhere, and he became a great pitchman, and he became somebody who you wanted to put your arm around. And for so many years, he was giving everybody the Heisman. He was holding everybody off, and then he embraced everybody. And when he embraced everybody, everybody embraced him, and did a lot for boxing, did a lot for our country, did a lot for our world. We're a much better place because we all got to experience George Foreman. The country is better, the world is better, and we're never going to forget him. And at his worst moment, which was the Rumble in the Jungle, and that fight, we came to know George Foreman in a much different way. And his legacy will be not only as the oldest heavyweight champion, but a man who everybody came to love and was beloved. And that turnaround, it just doesn't happen in American life. It just doesn't happen. Once somebody is set and the mold is cast, it's very difficult. It's very difficult, Brian, to break out of that, and he did.
It absolutely is. Jim Gray, Fox Sports, thank you so much for your poignant just memories and remembering him the way that you have this morning. Thanks again, Jim. Appreciate it. George Foreman dead at 76.
Thanks,
leaves
Brian.
behind 12 children. A remarkable legacy.